Hey guys, and yes, I'm doing this. This time I'm going to do a bit of something different. I made a tier list for the spells of boss monsters. I did want to cover this one at a time, but I decided to do it now, and I'm using Tier Maker to make the tier list, so thanks to them for this. Now, this is going to be obviously my opinion, but based on my experience in the game, this is going to be my tier list of every spell in the game. That includes all 16. So without further ado, let us begin. Oh yeah, don't be afraid if you don't see the rest of them, they're on the side. Up first is Zombie Attack. Choose a dead hero in an opponent's scorekeeping area, send it back to the entrance of that player's dungeon until the end of turn. It has +2. Basically, you're reviving one of their heroes that they just killed. You're bringing it back to the front of their entrance. They're technically a zombie, but they have +2. So they're more tankier, which means they'll be slightly more tougher to take out. Especially in early game, this is very strong. Now, I might be overestimating this one a little bit. People might question this one. But I think this one fills a role pretty well, especially for 1v1 fights. And even against 2 or 3 players, this is still effective. For that, this is going to be high tier. Up next is Princess in Peril. Choose one hero in town, place at the entrance of your dungeon. Very straightforward spell, basically guaranteeing a hero to go to your dungeon. I think it fills the role pretty well. Nothing too crazy on this one. For that reason, where would I place it? I would probably place it, I would say mid-tier, only because it fills the role and there's nothing else it does. It's just guaranteed points, so yeah, mid-tier. Up next is Freeze. Choose and deactivate one room in any dungeon. It has no damage, treasure, or abilities until the end of turn. Basically, this is the best disrupting spell in the game. And deactivating any room is just effective. You're just destroying your opponent's chances to do any kind of damage. For that, it is completely top tier. Next is Counterspell. I don't need to say anything. This basically counters other people's spells. I have nothing else to say. This is just straight up top tier. This is basically the best card in the game. You have this, you counter basically everything. It's completely top tier. Up next is Exhaustion. Deal X damage into one hero in your dungeon, when X is equal to the number of rooms in your dungeon. Basically, if you use this card late game, you'll always guarantee 4 or 5 damage a piece. So it's always good to kill epic heroes. I might be overestimating this one too because I like these kind of number effects, so I'm going to put top tier. Up next is Motivation. If you have fewer rooms than an opponent, you may build an extra room this turn. You must discard this before any rooms are revealed. Basically, if you have fewer rooms than your opponent, you basically get to double the build phase, which is actually pretty cool. Now, this is also straightforward and it's also really easy to use, but the benefits is good, plus this actually could combine with certain strategies, which is one reason I'm actually putting it in the high tier. Up next is Cave-In. Destroy a room in your dungeon, kill any hero in that room. This is good to destroy any hero that might give you a wound. The catch is you have to sacrifice the room that you destroy. Now, like I said, this kind of pairs with Motivation because in the next turn, if you have this card, you can use it. But because it's such a situational spell, I'm actually going to place this in the mid tier. However, it does have effective uses and does have some good counterplay. So, yeah, I say mid tier. Up next is Fear. Choose a hero in any dungeon and send it back to town. Basically, before the battle phase, you can actually use this spell to send a hero back to the town from someone's dungeon to prevent them from scoring. I think this is really cool, even though it's kind of niche, but it does fulfill the role properly. I don't think it's high tier though. I would say at least mid tier, because I don't think it's low tier at all though. Up next is Annihilator. Give one trap room +3 until end of turn. Basically, during your battle phase, you're boosting up one of your trap rooms. This is already good. I know people say this might be overrated, especially where I'm putting these, but these are boosters that boost your room to the end of turn to kill heroes, specifically epic heroes. I'm going to say high tier. Up next, we have Assassin. Choose a hero in an opponent's dungeon. Give that hero +3 until end of turn. Another card you can use in battle phase. The only difference is you're powering up a hero to mess with one of your opponents. That way the chance of them destroying them is actually less likely. And if they have to sacrifice either a room or certain spells to do it. Other than that, though, I also think this is really good. It's also one of my favorite cards. Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite cards in the game. So I'm actually going to put this also in the high tier. Up next, we have Giant Size. Give one monster room +3 until the end of the turn. During your battle phase, just like Annihilator, instead of trap rooms, you +3 a monster room. I don't really need to explain much on this one. This is also going high tier. Up next is Jeopardy. All players must discard their hands, then draw one spell card and 2 room cards. This is the biggest fuck you card in the game because it's so beneficial. Regardless of build phase or battle phase, it's always good to mess up your opponents, or you just have a really bad hand, you just want to get better cards, you can do this. Now, I know I might be overestimating this one, but this one's like extremely good in my eyes. This is definitely top tier. Up next is Cobalt Strike. No rooms can be built this turn. Any face down room is returned to its owner's hand. I think this card is very situational and it's super niche. Now there is stall out strategies you can use and this spell works out perfectly with them. The problem is though, they're so niche and it's so situational. Maybe in 1v1s this is really good, but if you're going against 2 or 3 other players, this might not be that beneficial. Just because of all that and just because how situational it is, I'm going to put it in a low tier. Okay, we are almost done. Next is Soul Harvest. Choose a face down hero in your scorekeeping area and remove it from the game. Draw 2 spell cards. This is also situational but with better benefits. Basically, if you're ahead in the game and you're willing to sacrifice one of your points, you can actually do that and you can get 2 spell cards. And since spell cards are kind of really hard to get in the game and there's certain rooms and certain ways you can get spell cards, this is one of the more better ways to get it because it's a lot more simpler. While you lose 1 point, you gain 2 spells in the process, and since my tier list you're looking at right now, most spells are actually really strong. So yeah, this definitely goes high tier. Alright, next is Teleportation. Send a hero in your dungeon back to the first room of your dungeon. Basically, you could reset when he goes through your dungeon, especially for epic heroes since they're a lot more tankier, they're a lot harder to take out, and especially if you don't want to waste so many resources. This is a really good card. I actually do like it as well. It helps you out a lot. This goes high tier. And last but not least, Teleportation. Choose a player with at least 2 more souls than you. No heroes enter that player's dungeon this turn. Now this sounds really strong, but it kind of isn't. Now let me explain. The way this works is you choose someone who has more points than you. The souls meaning points. If they have 2 or more than you, they can't get any heroes that turn. But you're only stalling out 1 turn for them scoring. Unless you find a way to take those heroes that they can get for yourself, all you're doing is stalling until they get those heroes. There's also counterplay to this. What I mean by this is even if they can't get heroes in their dungeon, they can still affect you during the battle phase, so just keep that in mind. But in terms of the strength of this spell, I don't want to say low tier. I'll agree. I'll say mid tier. I think that's a fair placement. Alright, there you go, guys. That's my list. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Until then, thanks for watching.